Sara, can I hand over to you, please?
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. So yeah, thanks, Kevin, and for giving me the opportunity to speak today. Well, what I want to go to is just to delve a little bit, I guess, a bit more specifically. So sort of around what accountabilities are, etc., and how you can go about setting them within your business. So specifically, an accountability is something that you'll see really as a quite a major and significant job responsibility, or perhaps an initiative that you need your employees to accomplish. So it'd be perhaps one of their objectives for the year as well that you'd be measuring, etc. And most roles would have between 3 to 5 sort of major accountabilities as part of their sort of expectations and responsibilities to do. So why set them? There's a number of benefits that you'll see here, really. It helps predominantly to define priorities. So the individual knows what they need to be working on a day-to-day or week-by-week basis. It can also establish direction and clarify your expectations of the individual and just help them to understand what they should be working on. You can identify the expected results, so set the outcomes or expected outcomes and achievements from the accountabilities as well. It can certainly enhance teamwork because it sort of moves away from this silo environment. If people have accountabilities and they're made aware of others within the team, then they all know that they're sort of working towards similar goals, etc. It can improve individual performance because they know what they're focusing on. And also, I think this is really important for the business. It can link their contribution to the overall company success. They can see where their role fits within the organisation and how they're sort of assisting and aiding the organisation to reach their targets and goals for the year as well. So how do you go about setting accountabilities? So really, you just need to identify the key duties and accountabilities for that role. Now, this is slightly different than a job description because accountabilities and key duties will likely change on a year-by-year basis, but you would use the sort of the job description. So what's the main purpose of the role? But then the accountabilities, you might look at sort of the wider department goals that you're trying to achieve, the wider business goals as well. And also, if you've got any major activities planned for the year within the business, then that's an ideal way to set individual contributions within your teams. A key thing is obviously you need to meet with everybody individually to review the proposed accountabilities and agree them with them. And it can help sometimes to suggest to the individuals that they bring some accountability ideas to the table as well, because then that really encourages engagement, I think, from the individual. If they think, well, this is my suggestion, this is how I think I can help improve the business, the department, whatever. And also at that meeting, make it really clear how you're going to measure their achievement and their performance towards those accountabilities. And make sure you focus on things that are obviously observable, measurable in terms of those performance expectations. So there's no sort of discrepancy about whether they've been achieved or in fact are achievable or not. So I've just done sort of one example really of an accountability, and I've done it on an administration type role because I figure people that have got a team have generally got an administration function. So an accountability for an admin person may be to create and maintain an accurate office record management system. So accountabilities don't need to be war and peace. You know, they just need to sort of say what you need the individual to do. So it's all about a filing system, really, is the accountability. You then break that down into expectations. So what do you expect from that one individual accountability? So what you might want to see out of the overall filing one is develop an online filing system, perhaps. You may want them to maintain binders, which holds agendas and minutes of committee or executive meetings, etc. You may want to include them building confidential HR files for each employee that you've got. Obviously being mindful on all of these around GDPR and things like that. You perhaps want them as part of it to archive files annually. and to make sure that all the filing is up to date and simple to use, so everybody can access it and knows how the system works, and that are obviously doing the filing on a regular basis, because it's all too easy for filing to get out of hand. So those are sort of the expectations that fall out of an accountability. And then you might want to look at the resources that they need to fulfill that accountability. So if you're asking them to do binders for meetings, then you might need to put a budget together to purchase those binders. You might need to make sure that you've got both online for your computer and physical storage space availability. You might want to look at separate, like cloud systems, etc., sharing systems online, etc., if you don't use them already for filing. And obviously archive availability as well. So whether that's sort of again a secure, fireproof shed or warehouse that you may use, or obviously you can use specific archive businesses as well. One of the most important things about when you're setting accountability is that they are regularly reviewed so that you can respond to any changes. I think what we're all more than aware of over the last 12 months is businesses can change very rapidly and change direction. So, and they're not always foreseen changes. So if you've got accountabilities that could just no longer viable because the business has changed, then you need to sit with that individual again and either set new ones or amend their existing ones accordingly, so that those benefits of having accountabilities are still appropriate in terms of the teamwork, defining priorities, etc., so they know exactly what they need to be doing. That's what I wanted to cover, really. Short and sweet, I know, but just sort of to talk you through a little bit about sort of an accountability itself, and to get you thinking about what you can do with them. And then I think David's going to talk through his business specifically and how he's used accountabilities, etc.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Sarah. That's super. And I think, some really key points in there. Again, this is about setting expectations early on, but then monitoring it as you go. And we've talked many times about bringing in sort of 90-day planning and having that focus, and you can of course then review these accountabilities and progress on a 90-day basis, then, rather than just setting them once and then forgetting, and then people becoming less and less clear. Is that fair, Sarah?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.